So, how is everybody doing tonight? It is Monday. It's close to Halloween. Like Halloween just like right around the corner. Like that's insane. How many adults gonna be dressing up this year? Let me know. If you plan on dressing up this year, let me know. And then also let me know what you're gonna dress up as. Let's make it fun. That would be pretty cool. So yeah, just tell me how or what you're gonna dress up as this year. Me, I'm not really sure. You know what? On second thought, I know I want to dress up as something with their shirt off. Like this, yeah, like this year, I want to dress up with a superhero or somebody with their shirt off. I think that'd be the coolest shit. And then what we got? Because what's today? Today is the 20th. So we got. Okay, credit card. So today is the 20th. And then Halloween would be on the 31st. So I mean, I got a week, almost 2 weeks to just really grind and do my push-ups and get ready to be a superhero because that's the goal is to be a superhero um, on Halloween. Get my buff on so I can go around my shirt off because it might be cold. I mean, but that's a week away. I mean, it has been getting kind of chilly, but it's been hot too. So I don't know. Normally it'd be like almost like it's been a snow. So it whatever like next week everything changed and then this warm weather just turned back to snow. That'd be crazy. But that's Illinois. Oops, I had my microphone down. But that's Illinois. But that gives me a chance to get everything together so I can put on a proper show for y'all. So I really appreciate y'all for being patient with me. So I mean, let's get started. Y'all, one thing that I noticed a lot more, more and more, is like black men ain't really fucking with Obama. And I've had some conversations with some black men before, and a lot of them feel like either he didn't do nothing for black men, he didn't do enough for black men, and stuff like that. But let me know how y'all feel about it. If you could share it, like it, comment on the podcast, because we are trying to go nationwide. That hopefully that happens. This it really has happened, but I need to focus on it more. So I need to put more into it, and hopefully that happens this week. Okay, so I mean it's hard doing stuff like that, but without getting off track, a lot of black men, and I talk to them and I conversate with them, they're not really fucking with Obama like that. It's like I feel like he didn't do nothing for us. He didn't do enough for us. He didn't specifically target black issues. And I don't know. I have to. I sometimes I have different thoughts about that because, like, if he was the one who got the economy together to allow people to get jobs, I mean, jobs for everybody, and no, it wouldn't necessarily be like, okay, I'm gonna boom. Because I know, like, we, I mean, like, because first off, that's what you would think, right? You would be like, no, but there's one thing I'm gonna talk about though that's kind of bogus. But before I get off subject, I need to rewrite some stuff down. But oh, getting us jobs and stuff like that would be, and that's like what people want. They think like, okay, since he is the first black president, he's just gonna come through, break down the doors, which is he broke down a lot of doors, but then like boom, he gonna make sure that black people good from now on. That will be your first thought. But in my head, I'm kind of thinking too, like that's what the opposition want. They want somebody to come in and be like, "Oh, he just doing for his people." I mean, like the hell that they gave Obama to begin with, I can only imagine if they felt like he was trying to do something for, especially in the first term. He was specifically trying to do something for black people because then they could be like, "Oh, well, he not doing stuff for all Americans," and you just don't understand how like these people spin this. So I know the pressure would be on him to, okay, we're gonna see what you're gonna do. We're gonna see if you're just gonna do this. But now, like I said, the second term, once we got you in the second term, we're like, okay, now do you, like you don't really have nobody to answer to at that point. You don't. And I feel like that was your chance to come in and really do something and change something or even speak up for the black people. You could have came in and your flip flops one day and was like, yo, we changing this shit around. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing for my black people. Like, and they couldn't have voted you out. They could do all the other legal shit to try to get you out of office. But as we've seen, like that don't even work. Like what you call that to be something that happens with presidents, but that don't mean you out of office or impeached. That don't mean you out of office. You could still be in office and be impeached. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to look and see exactly what impeachment does for your things you can do because like that's not gonna make sure that you leave the office the next day. You still in office like I'm impeached. I'm impeached up in here. Trump was like I'm impeached. Impeach me again. So I don't know what an impeachment is. We got to figure out what impeachment actually does and not allow you to do because I didn't see nothing to slow Trump back down. He took documents out of the White House. Like, yeah, I'm impeached. Got grab them documents. You know what I'm saying? So I need to know what impeached means before I can, but it's crazy, y'all. I mean, Obama did some things for the gay community. And that was he did a lot of things, in fact, for the gay community, like in Chicago and stuff like that. And he did a lot of stuff for the gay community. So that pissed a lot of people off. So like, if you could do this for the gay community specifically, then why you're not able to do that for the black community? And I have nothing against the gay community, but why were you able to do certain things for the black community, especially black men, because you are a black male? Like I can see Kamala getting in there and doing stuff specifically for black women eventually, like specifically for black women. I can see her doing that, and that's okay. I guess I can't have no problem with that because she's a portion. Uh, she has black in her, so I have no problem with that. But why Obama couldn't do stuff specifically for black men? We're gonna take a look and see exactly what he did, and we're gonna bust his myth. But I do want you guys to take a look at something that I found because Obama made a speech, and in this speech he talked specifically to black men, and he told black men, "Listen, if y'all don't do what the fuck," no, I wasn't like that, but he talked to black men, and he basically told him how he feel about them not voting for Kamala, and he lectured them, and black men didn't like that. We don't like to be lectured, so of course they snapped back, and this is how that went. So we're gonna take a look at it. My name is Johnny Johnny. Make sure you guys sharing this. Make sure you guys liking it.
Presidential election, former President Barack Obama has opened a can of worms after he lectured black men to vote for Kamala Harris while speaking in Pennsylvania last week. America's first black president had some frank discussions with young black voters who could play a crucial role in this year's election, asking black men to accept the entry of women, particularly women of color.
Two things. A lot of black men really like Trump. Young black men. A lot of young black men really like Trump. And I made a comment about how black people would be a huge part of the election, and somebody didn't like me. They didn't feel like that was the case, and I'm trying to tell y'all, like from now on, until Mexicans get on their shit and take over, if we allow them to, They're growing in huge numbers, but from now on, black people will be a huge part of the election as far as who gets in. So I'm just letting y'all know. There's only a little small percentage of us voting. If everybody voted, have y'all seen that game? It's like they sitting on a chessboard, black men, they stooped over, and the chessboard is sitting on top of them, and white men is playing on the board. And they like, if we all stood up, the game is over. That's kind of what they mean too. Like, we are a huge part now that we here. We are part of this country. We are a huge part of the country, and we can make things happen because it's sheer numbers. But until we decide, everybody, let's work together and do that. You see how we push stuff on Facebook and Instagram? We make somebody famous in a day, in a few hours. If we put our minds together, then we may be able to figure some shit out. But that's the thing. They know that we ain't gonna be able to figure shit out. They know we ain't gonna get along. People ain't even gonna watch this podcast. Like, we ain't gonna do shit. Like, they know that. So they're able to do things. Plus, it ain't shit we can do. Okay, so let's take a listen.
In corridors of power, Barack Obama's words managed to touch a raw nerve. Though most black men agreed to President Obama's sentiments, some made some rather strong objections. Our next report brings you more.
Former U.S. President Barack Obama has found himself on the wrong side of American voters, particularly black men. Last week, the 44th President of America gave a blistering performance in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Speaking in the swing state, Obama called on men and black men to vote for Kamala Harris.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. I've noticed this especially with some men who seem to think Trump's behavior, the bullying and the putting people down, is a sign of strength. And I am here to tell you that is not what real strength is. Real strength is about working hard and carrying a heavy load without complaining.
Now, so far, okay, to me that's not bad, because and then you gotta understand that he's talking to like younger males. He's not talking to like adults. I think adults seeing this and like, oh, who you trying to? You ain't my daddy. Like, he not talking to like older adults. Like, he really kind of talking to males, younger males. So I think that was a misconception. But let's listen to the rest of it.
Real strength is about taking responsibility for your actions and telling the truth even when it's inconvenient. Real strength is about helping people who need it and standing up for those who can't always stand up for themselves. That is what we should want for our daughters and for our sons, and that is what I want to see in a president of the United States of America.
And that wasn't it. As Barack Obama continued to open a bigger can of worms after addressing the crowds from the podium, he spoke to a group of black men separately.
How are you?
He urged them to embrace women in power and pick Kamala Harris as their next president.
I'm going to go ahead and just speak some truths, if you don't mind.
So that's how I'm gonna play it at. But yeah, like black men, they not feeling him right now like that. That's crazy. Like, I thought, like, because of who he was and what he actually did as far as be the first black president, like, that will hold a lot of weight. But with black people, like, you have to like earn our respect, and then you have to like make sure you do things to keep our respect too sometimes, and stay in our good graces. But I just don't understand. Well, like I said, I mean, you did a lot of stuff for the gay community and like the black community. Like, well, what about us? What, and they didn't feel like you was there, like we would have liked you to be there. Because I know there's a lot of things that it's hard for you to get done, but the things you can get done, like, let's do that. That's all we want to see is somebody trying, and somebody who's actually listening to our thoughts. So Stephen A. Smith, I like him a lot, and as a pastor, so he has words that he was thoughts that he had about President Obama's statements of black men. So we're gonna take a look and see how similar his is. This is my first time listening to his too, so you hear with me.
I have to get started with some politics because I've had something on my mind that I've been holding in for the last few days or so, and I'm not going to hold it in anymore. It's specifically the presidential election, which is just over 2 weeks away. National polls show former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris essentially in a dead heat heading towards November 5th. Both campaigns were on the trail over the last week or so, including this weekend, including some of their surrogates as well. And for Kamala Harris, that would include former President Barack Obama, who hit the trail stomping for Democrats. The former president made headlines this weekend, actually a few days before this weekend as well, speaking to a forum of black men in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Obama spoke directly to all men who may be considering not voting or voting for Donald Trump in this election cycle. Before I go any further, I want you to hear exactly what this man had to say.
I've got a problem with that because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president.
Listen, the whole thing is they're like, you can't tell us that we don't want a woman as president. Like, you don't know us, who you think you are. And at the end of the day, he's exactly right. I can't stand sometimes the people. Like, you can't just agree with him and be like, yeah, you're right. Like, yeah, because we got to face it. But we know, like, a lot of it, not everybody, but a lot of it is like black men don't want a woman leading them and being in charge of everything. But I mean, that's really what it's coming down to. You got women principals, and women running dental offices, and all types of shit. Like, black women is on their shit right now. Real estate agents. So mayors, black mayors running cities. What's happening, whether we like it or not? I made a podcast about that before. Are black women taking over? Yeah. Wake up, black men. Unless we stick together and do our part, yeah, they take it over. And this is the grand piece in that takeover. If she become president, mission complete. And we know that. Women gonna feel like they gonna know that they taking over. That's what I'm saying about that. Okay, listen.
And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you.
Look, dude in the back like he want to fight. You see that dude in the back with his arms crossed? He want to fight. Like, he in the posture like they not feeling that at all. Let's listen.
Because you think that's a sign of strength, because that's what being a man is, putting women down. That's not acceptable.
Respectfully, President Obama, what you said is not acceptable. I'm going to say it again. Respectfully, what you said is not acceptable. Not to me, not to a host of black men out there who's not even thinking about voting for Donald Trump. What you said is unacceptable. I'll tell you why in a minute. before I do that, I want to go to Khalil Thompson, co-founder and executive director of Win with Black Men, who responded to criticism of Obama's comments. Take a look at what he had to say here. Quote, I believe President Obama is speaking to a tangible, visceral understanding of what it means for all men to relate to women in America. Calling out misogyny is not wrong, end quote. To co-founder Khalil Thompson, you're wrong too. And what you said is unacceptable. You see, what you're missing is that you're basically accusing black men who come up with a reason to not support Kamala Harris as engaging in misogyny. Whatever happened to disagreeing without being disagreeable, President Obama? What happened to that? All of a sudden, we want to challenge men and our love and our affection as black men for black women. We want to bring that into question because we've got an election coming up and people may have the temerity to think differently than you. It's because she's a woman that she's in danger of losing this election? Didn't Hillary Clinton win the popular vote in 2016? Didn't she get over 2.8 million more votes than Donald Trump in the popular vote for the 2016 election? Last time I checked, she's a woman. Are we there sitting here and implying that black men would be more apropos to support a white woman than a black woman? Is that what we're saying? Is that what we're saying? It's a rhetorical question because it makes no sense to me. Before I go even further, let's hear more from Mr. Khalil Thompson himself. Quote, we're not a monolith. However, we are just like every other American in this country who wants a good paying job that we can provide for our children and participate in their lives and the lives of our partner, that we can get them home safely, afford to go to the grocery store, save a little for retirement, and have a vacation. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that explanation, Khalil Thompson. Why didn't you say that from the jump? What's up with the misogyny comments? I will have you know, and President Obama, our 44th president of the United States, who I voted for not once but twice, who was the president from 2009 to 2017, who to me was exemplary, who to me had the greatest first lady in the history of this country, who has been a phenomenal role model to black people and to black men and the men across this globe.
Okay, let's get to it.
That same Barack Obama, how could you say something like that? How could you ignore the facts that are lying in front of all of us? You don't want Trump to be president. We think that Trump could be an unmitigated disaster. In my opinion, he'll be on a revenge tour. In my opinion, there's a lot of things he bloviated about and didn't deliver on. We don't want to get into too much about COVID. We don't want to get into much about him overblowing his contribution to HBCUs, the wall that he was going to build, and the Mexican was going to pay for it. He ended up building 2% of the wall, and the Mexicans didn't pay a dime. We could get into a whole bunch of stuff about him. That's a given. I understand that. But let's get back to the part about black men. That's what we're going to talk about right now.
Okay.
That's what we're going to talk about. President Obama, why didn't you tell?
So we're going to leave it at that. As y'all can see, like, people are not really pleased about Obama. I want to know y'all thoughts. Let me know what y'all think. You think he put his foot in his mouth? Or do you think he is telling the truth and it needs to be heard? So I told y'all my opinion. I think a lot of it is definitely something that needs to be, at least needs to be heard and to think about. If it's not you, if it's not you, then it's not you. But if it is, you fall into that category, then you should definitely look at it at a different angle. That's all. So with that being said, we're gonna get out of here. I want to thank y'all for tapping in. My name is Johnny, and this is Johnny Live. 3 different platforms: YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So getting out there. No doubt. I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Peace.